Hello and welcome to Strategy, Story and Stakeholders. It's the podcast for senior leaders in comms, corporate affairs and also investor relations. We're exploring how best to support CEOs and boards to build credibility and how to engage with stakeholders. So that's everyone from employees and customers to investors and governments. At a time when trust in leaders is low, the power of clear storytelling has never been more important. I'm Max Forsyth, founder of CommSearch and Selection, and I've got a decade of experience recruiting comms and IR leaders. Today's guest is Jenny Hall, Chief Corporate Affairs Officer at Royal Mail and IDS, and a member of the Executive Committee. Jenny's remit spans external communications, internal communications, public affairs and ESG. It's a role that sits at the centre of reputation, policy and employee engagement in one of the most scrutinised organisations in the UK. Royal Mail isn't just a business, it's a part of national life. That brings constant attention from government, regulators, unions, media and the public, often at the same time. Decisions land quickly, expectations shift fast, and the consequences are visible. In this conversation, we'll explore what it really takes to lead corporate affairs at that scale, how you prioritise when everything feels high stakes, how you keep messages consistent without sounding scripted, and how you build trust with 130,000 colleagues while operating under intense public scrutiny. We'll also talk about ESG, stakeholder trust, and the skills comms leaders need if they want to step into broader corporate affairs roles. Let's get into it. So, Jenny Hall, welcome to Strategy, Story and Stakeholders.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Let's dive straight into it. So you've built a career across comms, corporate affairs, public affairs and ESG. What's the thread that runs across it?
So I started my job in consultancy,
Yes.
but I started in kind of public affairs consultancy. So I think you view yourself as a bit of a campaigner. Generally, you're lobbying for something to change something. And I would say that in my career, campaigning is probably the thread that goes through it, whether I'm running like an internal comms campaign
Yes.
or, ESG or anything like that. I sort of view myself as almost like a woman with a placard going, come on, this is what we want. We're campaigners. Hopefully sometimes a little bit more subtle than that. But what's the point in doing comms or ESG or engagement if you're not really trying to change something? And so for me, campaigning is about changing something for the better. And I would say that that's probably the thread that certainly drives me as an individual.
Yes.
But also I would say is the thread that's kind of gone through my career and why those kind of four things all fit together quite nicely, I think.
No, nice, lovely. And obviously now you're at Royal Mail and you've been there for a number of years. Joining a business that, really is almost part of the national identity. Yeah. How has that evolved and, how does all of that thread, how does that now tie into your current role and how have you done that?
So you're right. It is part of that national identity. And I think that I've been there for a while. I've been in this particular job in Royal Mail for about 5 years or so on. But that's like a blip on the horizon when you're working for a company that's over 500 years old.
Yes.
So when you work for an organisation like Royal Mail, you have to be incredibly respectful of the legacy that you've got, the history that you've got, the fact that it is a bit of an institution.
Yes.
But if I, in my role, had taken the view that Royal Mail my job is to keep it the same, I would not be doing the company a good service because it's an organisation that also needs to massively transform. We've made a load of progress. It's really, really have made a lot of progress in recent years, but we've got to do a lot more. So I think I still bring that whole campaigning, changing, we've changed legislation to, improve things for the company. We've managed to get lots of regulatory changes this year. We've got a really ambitious net zero program. I think we are changing the culture in the organisation for the better as well. So all of those things, you're still bringing that campaign to make sure you're being respectful of the legacy, but you're bringing the company right into the 21st century and beyond.
Yes, no, very good point. And I guess with all of that transformation in mind, your role covers such a broad remit of that broad comms, corporate affairs and ESG piece. How do you prioritise all of those different elements? I guess, what have you prioritised? It'd be really interesting to kind of get a feel for that.
Yeah, so I would say about I think having a very clear strategy that you've agreed with, like I agree it with my exec colleagues around what are the things that we should be focusing on within my team. What does the rest of the business need? Because ultimately we're a strategic function, but we're also a service function. We are there to support. Basically, we're there to support 100,000 posties to go out and do their job. And so about 2 years ago, to be honest, we were in a pretty dire place. We were losing about £400 million a year. We, like many others at the time, because it was just a heightened time, but we had like 18 days of strike action. We'd had a cyber attack. We'd gone through leadership changes. It was just we were not in a good place.
Yes.
And so I kicked off a strategy that I just called our reputational rebuild. And I said, this is the next, and I said it again and again. I said, it's not a one and done. This is a multi-year program of reputational rebuild. And I agreed as part of that, really 4 key priority areas across the exec with my team. Everybody's goals laddered up to them as well. And those 4 priorities were rebuilding pride.
Yeah.
Just vitally important in the organisation when you've gone through a really difficult time, and to get morale up.
Yep.
Customer and transformation. I didn't want to talk about ourselves anymore. I wanted to talk about our customers, and I wanted to show that we're transforming for them.
Yes.
So a huge amount about that. Reforming the universal service, which I won't go into all the technicalities of it, but that is the legal obligation on Royal Mail to deliver letters and parcels 6 days a week.
Yes.
We changed that this year. So that was a big integrated campaign.
Yes.
And then the 4th one was being the greenest operator. So we are the greenest operator in our industry, because actually we're delivering loads on foot. Everyone else is driving around in vans. We're inherently greener, but it's all about pushing that agenda forward and making sure that we're delivering on our strategy. So if activity does not fall into those 4 buckets, then why am I doing it? And that's how I prioritise, really.
Yes. And how have you balanced the internal versus external? I guess this has changed a lot, particularly post-COVID.
Yep.
I've noticed this is what's internal goes external, whether you want it to go external or not.
Yeah.
And what's external is also internal because everyone picks it up internally very quickly. How have you managed that? But, I guess, how has your approach to the job and the function changed to kind of get that balance right?
Yeah. I mean, totally. And this is why, for me, internal comms and external comms, they have to be together in one function.
Yes.
Particularly when you employ 130,000 people and they are knocking on doors every day, talking to your customers every day. If your posties don't know what on earth is going on in the organisation and they think that it's all, then, the customers will as well. So, they've got good relationships on the doorstep generally. So I run a completely integrated team.
Yes.
I run Monday morning every week. It's the grid meeting. All functions are there. We basically use the number 10 model. We make sure that we've absolutely planned everything.
Like it.
I encourage integration a lot. I have, one guy in my team, new role I created, who is the strategy and planning lead across everything.
Okay.
So I try as much as possible to really break down those silos.
Yes.
I think most people in my team know that, if you bring a press release to me for approval, they sort of expect I'll go, right, so how are we using it internally? And they may be a press person,
but
I would have expected them to think through and to have spoken to their internal colleagues.
Nice.
And similarly, my internal comms team know to, when they're drafting something, to always have that lens of, what if the Daily Mail saw this, or the FT, or what? And so those sorts of processes, that's good for their careers as well, but it also helps me protect the organisation.
Yes. They found that transition easy? Have they picked it up quickly? I'm interested to know, because comms traditionally was perhaps more, you had your external comms team did their bit.
Yep.
You had your internal comms team that did their bit. Often, yes, as you say, quite siloed. Obviously, now you've moved that, and I think the function has had to adapt. Have people picked that up quickly?
I think generally people have, especially because actually I've been lucky. My team is pretty stable. So over the 5 years that I've been doing that job, a lot of the people, they're pretty used to that, like that approach by now. Actually, it's often when people come straight into the team and they're a bit more God, and go, well, I'm a press person, or I'm,
Yes.
and so it's really building that culture in the team when people join as well. And
Yes.
I mean, one of the things that we did, it was probably about 18 months ago, because it was after we'd set up the strategy, was to develop a campaign toolkit that is just for our team. And we ran a kind of training session on it. It was all developed in-house. And, ran a training session and things like that, I think, help to embed the culture and the expectation that you always think of things through a multi-stakeholder lens and a multidiscipline lens.
No, fantastic. What does a good week look like in corporate affairs, and what does a not so good week look like?
Going back to what I was saying about campaigning, I mean, the best weeks for me are when you've won something,
Okay.
So so often in comms, it's just like things don't really end. You just sort of go, all right, we've got that bit done. We'll go on to the next bit of the campaign. Like it's not like you've got a project and there's an end date and you know that you've done it. But sometimes it does. Sometimes you do actually, as I say, change a piece of legislation, or a takeover completes, or went through that this year. Those big moments where you go, actually, take a moment, guys. This is what you'll still be talking about in 15 years. So those big win moments are great for me. As I say, when we got some legislation changed around pensions, when we ended up getting universal service reform this year, when the takeover completed, when we finally launched our new company strategy, those big moments are brilliant. Bad week, I mean, some weeks you end up having a spiral week where one thing kicks off another thing, and that's just the way things sometimes work. I would say my worst week ever was the week that we'd been called to a select committee. We'd had loads of internal stuff going on, and then 2 days, I think it was 2-3 days before we were due to be at this select committee, so we were doing training, we got hit by a cyber attack, which was a pretty bad week.
Yes. Although I think it's always important for you and the team to remember that for all of its positives, you've worked for an organisation that is always going to have some difficult weeks and some negative bits thrown at it, just purely because of who it is and how big it is.
Yeah,
it's par for the course. It's part of doing it.
Yeah,
it's good to keep that in mind.
It is, and what I say to my team, to be honest, is brilliant CV fodder. You can tick every box when you're here.
Very true. Very true. What's been the most misunderstood part of the Royal Mail story over the past few years, and how have you gone about correcting it?
Probably the most misunderstood thing is people think we're the post office.
Yes.
And I'm not sure I've been that successful correcting that without through a certain lens. You go, particularly when there was lots, obviously, I won't talk too much about the post office, but when there was lots in the papers,
yes,
there was certain media that was constantly getting us confused. We would talk to them. We would make sure that they understood, two separate organisations. So there's a big win when the BBC started it very high up in all of their coverage, started explaining we are two separate organisations. But
yes,
our brands are inherently interlinked because we were the same organisation for hundreds of those years, and even our post boxes still say post office on them, and we sell and they're also a really important partner for us. We sell all our services through 11,500 post offices. I mean, the way that we've overcome that is that actually both organisations have been developing their own business strategies in different ways, and whilst we will always be really important partners, we now also have we took a 49% stake in Collect Plus convenience stores this year, which has been fantastic. We sell through those. We've been also ploughing our own ground on locker rollouts, on lots of new initiatives and everything like that. So my focus on that has just been tell our own story, tell how we're transforming as an organisation, explain who we are. But that's definitely without a massive change. And I'm certainly not going back to the let's rebrand Royal Mail Consignia from sort of circa 2001, which was, I think, probably known as the worst rebranding idea ever. Ultimately, we just have to tell our own story, I think.
Yes, and it is. You are always going to be slightly one hand tied behind your back when you also both have a very distinctive red
Yes.
logo.
And I'm not changing the red.
No, and that's always just going to be in people's, subconscious mind. Yes, no, I totally get that. I totally get it. Got it. Royal Mail has around 30,000 colleagues, you said?
130,000, yes. Yep.
How do you ensure that when you're keeping them engaged, but you're keeping that messaging, it feels personalised when you are communicating to an enormous number of colleagues?
It is so hard in an organisation like Royal Mail. We, as I say, 130,000, 120,000 of those are, at least, are operational colleagues. Vast majority of those, they don't have a device. They also don't spend a huge amount of time in our offices because they'll come in the morning, they will do a bit of sorting, and they will be out pounding the streets for however many hours.
Yes.
There is very, very, very limited window for us to get communications to them.
Yes.
And also, it's not like we can just drop them an email so there's a number of different things that we do to try and make it human, make it understand. We are so reliant on great managers delivering a great message. You have to support managers to do that.
Yes.
Some are brilliant at it, some are not so good.
Yes.
So you can do loads of stuff around supporting them. You can give them written briefs, but ultimately you need those managers to believe. So a lot of our focus has also been on running roadshows a few times a year so that we can get out. We've got 1,500 sites out there. We can't go to everyone.
Yes.
So they do have to come regionally. We'll do big face-to-face events. We'll try and get them engaged, make sure that they understand everything that's going on.
Yes.
We do monthly calls, live calls, nothing fancy at all. It's literally like a Teams call, but thousands of people. People can ask any question they want. People vote them up to our leadership. We will answer, if they're, and hopefully honestly and truthfully as well. People will ask hard questions, and so that's important. And and getting out and about. At the moment, we're sort of coming to the end of the Christmas season for us. My colleagues and the rest of the exec board, we've been out and about. Helping deliver the post, going to lots of visits, I'm in Preston tomorrow,
Lovely.
just getting out and seeing, talking, feeling, making sure that people see that we understand it.
Yes.
I just try not to make everything too polished. We launched our strategy internally this year. We did it in September. We ended up doing it because you can't get, I don't have the budget, but you just can't get 130,000 people as well to, let's book out Wembley Stadium or,
which actually would be too small.
Which would be too small. We need to do it twice.
Yes.
So you can't get everyone together. So we ran a kind of 2-hour live stream. It was a bit like This Morning style, sofa show, going from different sets, doing all these things to launch all the different elements of our strategy. And I remember the run up that my colleagues were going to be, so Jenny, why are we doing it live again? Why? Why?
Yeah, okay.
A, we couldn't get any other time in your diaries, but B, actually it makes it much more real. People can ask live questions.
Yes.
If you mess up, you're human. And people did mess up. I messed up on that live stream and said something like I said to my colleague when we were doing the Q&A, operations director, I said, so it might be a little bit too early to mention the C word, and his face dropped. And I went, Christmas. And before, I didn't. As soon as I said it, I went, Jenny, what have you done? But his face,
God, I wonder what he was thinking of. Anyway.
I know, exactly. And but stuff like that, it made people laugh. It makes you a bit more human. It's like, don't make it too polished.
Yeah, that's nice.
I couldn't be polished if I tried anyway. So,
and do you have formal or informal, sort of comms champions amongst the sort of posty cohort who help you with that?
Yes, we do. Actually, we're actually finally, big moment, but we're closing down our employee magazine at the start of next year, which is a big moment for us. To be honest, we've moved onto a new digital platform called Robin, which is great. But we have posties writing as part of that. We also have loads of champions that are out there. This new Robin, it's an app that we've bought. It's run by Work Vivo, but we've reskinned it, and it's all very Royal Mail. And we need postie champions out there getting people to log on to it. We've got about 60,000 of them done it so far. We obviously want to get up to, we probably won't get to 130,000, but we'll try and get as many as we possibly can.
Yes.
So that they can get those direct messages from us. They can engage in the kind of content, understand a bit more about their business and everything like that.
Yes.
So, but we wouldn't do that unless posties were saying, download it too.
Yeah, great. No, super. We couldn't really talk about content and comms champions either without the Greg James Radio 1 piece recently. Loved it. He went on a postie run. Isle of
Isles of Scilly, so most southerly point of the UK.
Fantastic. Yes. And he'd got everything right except his shorts. So you sent him a packaged Royal Mail uniform, including the postie shorts at Radio 1. Yeah. Got a lot of engagement. Talk us through that.
So this was, it makes it sound like we had him on a planned postie, but we didn't. It was 8:20 in the morning on a Friday, and I took a phone call from a number I didn't recognise, and it was Helena, his producer at Radio 1. She said, we've got Greg doing this like silly week, he's currently in a plane on the way to the Isles of Scilly. Our production team has found a postie. We'd quite like him to go out on a delivery round with him, but they said that they need press off approval. And I was like, well, yes, they would.
Well, it's very good of the postie to remember that. Yes, yeah.
And so I said, okay, well, what are you planning? And I was like, okay, this sounds pretty harmless. Fine, go ahead. You've got my approval. And so, because he was literally getting over to do it at 8:50, so we had like half an hour's notice.
Yes,
fine, whatever, great. Go for it. I was listening to it, and because it was all very last minute, he'd gone into the delivery office, and they were all, because this is just a, I suppose fun little team down there. They were going, no, Greg, you can't go out unless you're wearing shorts. And somehow they ended up finding some shorts for him. Yes. It was posted on social media, and they were the tiniest little peach set of shorts. And I was just watching this, laughing so much. And I called up. I was working from home that day. I had one member of my team that was in the office. Yeah. I was like, right, so you've got to go to that uniform cupboard, find some, send them. Like, we've got to make a bit of fun. And then, before you know it, they arrive, he's wearing them again on the Monday or Tuesday following, and it just ended up snowballing.
Royal Mail full kit, which is fantastic. Yes, love
exactly.
That. Great. So just think about the transformation again. One thing I think I've noticed over the years of doing my job is internal comms teams. Obviously, they're very good at the specific internal comms parts of transformation and change, but sometimes they don't quite get how to actually help drive that behaviour change as such. So how have you helped your team with that, and how are you shaping that as part of the transformation drive?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I'm quite lucky in my team. I've got people in my team, including the person that leads that team, who have also come from a HR background and change management background. And so they bring some of those skills in as well. I think we all have a habit of expecting it to change a lot quicker than it does. I mean, I set myself an objective when I took on this job that I would change the way the organisation thinks about it. It's very grandiose, absolutely no way of measuring it. And I want to achieve that, but I will probably never fully succeed in it, in getting exactly where I think we want to. But because behaviour change takes a huge amount of time, I think, to be honest, I think internal comms teams get it a lot more. Particularly, I've got a lot of experienced people in my team. It's often, I find, it's our internal stakeholders that just expect that. That email is going to change the world. Yes. And sometimes I'm the horrible person that goes, that email that you sent, delivered to 99.9% of emails, opened by 54%. Do you know how many people clicked through to the information? 1%. Yeah. That was an email from the other day where I was getting one of my colleagues was going, we need to send out another one. I was like, you don't. You need to find a different way to communicate. Yeah. No one cares.
Yeah, you want a slightly higher click-through rate than that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also, it's Christmas, so no one's listening because they're too busy.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Wanted to go back to your point, was it the fourth element of your own transformation around, was it the greenest fleet?
Greenest operator.
Yeah, greenest operator. Yeah. Yeah, can you tell us about that story, how you've been telling that, how progress is going?
Yeah, so progress with our net zero strategy 2040, we agreed that a few years ago. That is on track. I think we really pleased with that. We've got 8,000 electric vehicles out there. We've gone to 100% renewable energy across the estate. We've been one of the first to roll out electric HGVs. Only a few because it's still early technology, but we're going in that place. And I was really excited the other day because we've just launched our micro electric vehicles again. Only the first kind of 135 of them.
Nice.
The other day, but they are brilliant. I think they're going to be excellent for our really excellent for our fleet. So that's all going. That's all going nice. Really well. As I say, I mean the way that we tell that story. I run ESG, so as part of my team, so I'm interested in it, but not everyone's that interested in, particularly when it's very fleet based. Some people absolutely love that, other people don't. But I think the thing that does spark interest in our story is when people have that penny drop moment.
Yes.
Is we go, we're the greenest operator. I think everyone goes, glaze over, everyone says they're the best. But then I go, but no, think about our network.
Yes.
We have posties out there delivering your parcels and letters on foot.
Yes.
Everybody else is going around in diesel vans, occasionally electric, but they are driving all around the place. Stop, park up, drop. Yep. Stop, park up, drop. We are walking. There is no greener way to do it. That is the thing that sets us apart.
I was just going to say, you can't get cleaner than that.
You cannot get cleaner than that. You cannot get cleaner than that. And I feel like that's the story we tell. We do. Our posties are doing 1 billion steps. Like it's phenomenal.
It's also great for them. It's great for employee well-being. It's great for health.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Super. It's a win-win. Yeah.
And they get to wear shorts.
That's very true. Even on the coldest of days.
Even on the coldest of days.
You can always spot a postman a mile away. Because even when they're off, they're wearing shorts.
Exactly.
Which is great. Fab. Super. Conscious of time, if there is one thing you would like to share about your role or comms and corporate affairs at Royal Mail and where it's headed and where it's going, what would you like to say?
Oh, so where it's headed, well, the time has come for the next stage of our reputational rebuild, and I'm actually going to start taking away reputational rebuild. It's going to be like an acceleration now, because I feel like we've got the foundations back in place. We're on much stable footing. A lot of that comes down to the business performance as well. We're making money. I think we're in a better place. We're under new ownership, actually. We've got loads of big things to really look forward to. So for me, this year, next year, it's all about an acceleration. I want people to come away thinking of going, actually, do you know what? It's not everyone talks about transforming, but they're doing stuff that's better for us. The stuff that we're doing, we're innovating loads out there. We would not have survived 500 years if we did not innovate.
True.
We'd been gone a long time ago. So we've got to accelerate that. But things like post boxes. Now that I've told you, you'll start noticing them.
Yes. Post
boxes, we are upgrading to basically take parcels. We're calling them the post boxes of the future, but actually they're here now.
Yeah.
So 3,500 post boxes around the country. At the moment, a lot of them are being wrapped up in black tape for a few days, and then you'll see that they will have a completely new door. So we're preserving, going back to the very start of our conversation, we're preserving the legacy of 115,000 post boxes around the country, those red things that are so iconic with our brand. But we're giving them a whole new lease of life, because people aren't posting letters anymore, not very many of them. Unfortunately, we love them.
Yes.
We love letters, but parcels are the future.
Yes.
So we've taken off the front, we've put a solar panel on the top so that you can scan your parcel when you drop it in. You can get your proof of postage, and you can put in your vinted parcel or your ASOS return or whatever, and you can actually start posting more parcels, more bigger parcels from post boxes. So things like that. I want to be telling more stories like that. This is what we're doing for you to make your life easier, to make your life more convenient. And just getting out there, being a bit bigger, a bit bolder, a bit, proud of what we do.
Sounds really cool and really exciting.
Very exciting.
I look forward to seeing the progress.
Thank you very much.
Fabulous. And Jenny Hall, thank you very much for coming on Strategy, Story and Stakeholders.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.